A very good afternoon to all of you, my dear children. We are continuing with our next topic, that is central nervous system and the human brain. Let me ask a question to you. Is a reflex action the only function of the spinal cord? Obviously not. Since we know that we are thinking beings, spinal cord is made up of nerves which supply information to think about. Thinking involves more complex mechanisms and neural connections. These are connected and concentrated in the brain, which is the main coordinating center of the body. The brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system. They receive information from all parts of the body and integrate it. We also think about our actions. Writing, talking, moving a chair, clapping at the end of a program are examples of voluntary actions, which are based on deciding what to do next. So, the brain also has to send messages to muscles. This is the second way in which the nervous system communicates with the muscles. The communication between the central nervous system and the other parts of the body is facilitated by the peripheral nervous system, consisting of cranial nerves rising from the brain and spinal nerves rising from the spinal cord. The brain thus allows us to think and take actions based on that thinking. As you will expect, this is accomplished through a complex design, with different parts of the brain responsible for integrating different inputs and outputs. The brain has three such major parts or regions, namely forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Now, let's observe the diagram of the brain and let's notice all the parts. So here you can see the forebrain, midbrain, and the hidden brain regions. In that you can see the cerebrum, ventricles, corpus callosum, thalamus, cerebellum, brainstem, medulla, pons, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, etc. The forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. It has regions which receive sensory impulses from various receptors. Separate areas of the forebrain are specialized for hearing, smell, sight, and so on. There are separate areas of association where this sensory information is interpreted by putting it together with information from other receptors as well as with information that is already stored in the brain. Based on all this, a decision is made about how to respond, and the information is passed on to the motor areas which control the movement of voluntary muscles. For example, our leg muscles. However, certain sensations are distinct from seeing or hearing. For example, how do we know that we have eaten enough? The sensation of feeling full is because of a center associated with hunger, which is in a separate part of the forebrain. You know that our mouth waters when we see food we like without our meaning to. Our hearts beat without our thinking about it. In fact, we cannot control these actions easily by thinking about them, even if we wanted to do so. Do we have to think about or remember to breathe or digest food? No. So, in between the simple reflex actions like change in the size of pupil and the thought out actions such as moving a chair, there is another set of muscle movements over which we do not have any thinking control. Many of these involuntary actions are controlled by the midbrain and hindbrain. All these involuntary actions, including blood pressure, salivation, and vomiting, are controlled by the medulla in the hindbrain. Think about activities like walking in a straight line, riding a bicycle, picking up a pencil. These are possible due to the part of the hindbrain called cerebellum. It is responsible for precision of voluntary actions and maintaining the posture and balance of the body. Delicate organ like the brain, which is so important for a variety of activities, needs to be carefully protected. For this, the body is designed so that the brain sits inside a bony box. Inside the box, the brain is contained in a fluid filled balloon which provides further shock absorption. That is, the brain is protected by the bones of the skull and by a covering of thin membranes called meninges. The brain is also cushioned and protected by cerebrospinal fluid. This watery fluid is produced by special cells in the four hollow spaces in the brain called ventricles. Now, let's summarize what we had learned. That is, the brain and the spinal cord together constitute the central nervous system. Central nervous system receives the message from all the parts of the body and integrates it. The spinal cord is a long tubular bundle of neurons which carry information between the brain and the rest of the body. Human brain is covered by a bony box inside which the brain is contained in a fluid filled balloon which provides shock absorption, and spinal cord is enclosed in the vertebral column. Brain consists of three major parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. Separate areas of the forebrain are specialized for hearing, smell, sight, etc. That is, the cerebrum of the front brain, forebrain, is composed of the right and left hemispheres, which are joined by the corpus callosum. Functions of cerebrum thus include initiation of movement, coordination of movement, temperature, touch, vision, hearing, judgment, reasoning, problem solving, emotions, and learning, and also smelling. Hindbrain is divided into two parts: cerebellum and medulla. Cerebellum of the hindbrain controls balance, posture, and smooth movement of muscles. Medulla of the hindbrain controls heart rate, breathing rate, and reflexes such as sneezing, swallowing, vomiting, etc.